Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this webinar on the Returning Citizens Guide that we have just added to Illinois Worknet. And this guide offers an overview of tools and resources and steps to take for individuals who are re-entering society after spending some time in a correctional facility. And this guide has a lot of resources and information and organizations that you can reach out to, and we'll go through this guide and some of the things included in it. But first, I want to introduce a special guest of ours, James Pagano, who is a policy advisor for reform initiatives with the Illinois Department of Corrections, for some opening remarks. James?
Great, thank you, David. And thank you to DCEO for inviting me to speak on this panel and for putting together this excellent guide. I'm hopeful that it will be something that the folks leaving the Department of Corrections will find useful as they try to navigate the complexities of that process. I wanted to spend just a couple of minutes speaking to how the Illinois Department of Corrections has tried to tie itself in more firmly with other agencies across the state, to include DCEO, IDES, the Department of Human Services, and others, to try to improve the reentry process. And again, we're hopeful that this guide is going to be another resource that people can lean on to navigate that. But as I mentioned, the department has been working diligently with other state agencies to try to make sure processes and resources they offer are reaching people as soon as possible. And we're trying to do a better job of bringing those resources inside of our facilities so folks are leaving with those resources in hand. For example, the department has made lots of progress over the previous year, making sure that the people leaving its custody are enrolled in Medicaid, and we are actively pursuing efforts to have people leave our custody with link cards so they can get access to SNAP within 48 hours of their exit from DOC. In addition, and I think as evidence of, or rather to evidence the department's efforts in this regard, the department in January of 2020 formed a reentry unit. This is a part of the agency that is solely dedicated to better preparing people to return to their communities, and then trying to support them when they are in those communities, making that transition back home. That unit is led by Jennifer Perrick, a colleague of mine who is on the call today, and just has done a really tremendous job in expanding the availability of services to folks, again, that are leaving the department's custody. And that is a part of the agency that is likely only to grow in terms of the resources and the staff that are dedicated to it moving forward. I also wanted to highlight for folks that the department is part of a number of different working groups, committees, and task forces looking at improving reentry at the city, county, and state levels across Illinois, as we try to plot out a better way for people to succeed as they leave the department, as they re-enter the labor force. I also wanted to touch on just a couple of kind of very workforce related initiatives the department is part of right now. So we are actively in the process of renegotiating our training contracts with the community college system to better tie those to the labor market. We've made concerted efforts in the past year to expand technology access to the individuals in our custody, and are continuing to expand that access moving forward. And we are also actively working with another state agency to research how people who are leaving the department's custody perform in the labor market, specifically those who have gone through our job training programs. And finally, I'd be remiss, obviously, if we didn't mention that COVID has posed a tremendous challenge to the Department of Corrections, as it has to many different individuals and agencies across the state. And as of today, the department's population is down close to 30% from where it was on January 1st of 2020. And functionally, what that means for our ability to deliver services and job training inside is that waitlist will be smaller and more folks are going to have access to those services moving forward. And that's something I'm really excited about. And again, David and the folks at DCEO, thank you for asking us to be part of this conversation and for putting together this resource. I think it's going to be extremely helpful. So thank you.
Thank you very much, James. Really appreciate you being on the call this morning. So first we'll start off with, so this is on Illinois Worknet, but how do you get to the guide? So there's a few different ways. One, I'm going to share this link in the chat here. Additionally, if you go to illinoisworknet.com, on the homepage here, you can open up this menu in the top left corner, and under Updates and Help, you can click the Returning Citizens Guide, and that'll take you to the page that we were just on. And there's one other way. So on the Illinois Worknet homepage, if you scroll down to the Guides and Tools section, you'll find that there's a lot of different guides for some of the tools we have, from getting started on Illinois Worknet to job skills guide, a resume builder guide we can talk a little bit about later in the call. And then more specific audience guides, such as youth resources, individuals with disabilities, and veterans as well. But if you open up this View More, if you click that button, you'll see the list of all the guides that we have. And in this third row here, we have the Returning Citizens Guide. And so that's how you can navigate to the guide itself. And so at least in terms of how this works and how you can navigate through it, you can see 1 of 10, and these are slides, and you can navigate through them by clicking these left and right arrows here. And additionally, you can open up this little mini menu in here and jump to one of the slides in here. And so the way the guides are set up, the first one here, you can see is an introduction. This just introduces the guide itself. And if you click the Get Started button, that'll jump you to the second slide. But so now getting into the guide, adjusting after being away can be pretty stressful. And there's a lot of changes from maintaining healthy relationships and making career progress, getting started on the job search, building that resume, applying to jobs, and a lot of resources along the way. So let's get into it. And so the first article we have here is what to do after your release. And so if we open up, if you click that Learn More button, that'll open up an article with more information about that topic. And so having a support network of family and friends would be really beneficial to have, so that you can refer to them for questions, concerns, assistance, in any way that you might need. And there may be some changes, but having that support network will really help with that adjustment. And so some of the things that can help with this transition is getting transportation. So getting to and from your job and just general travel. If your driver's license is still active, you can use that. If you have a bus or metro pass as well, or a bicycle even, just to be able to get to and from work, visiting friends and family and that sort of thing, and just getting around in general. Additionally, housing. If you are not going to be staying with a friend or family member, there are services and locations throughout the state that provide assistance from shelters and transitional housing. And additionally, you can see and learn more information about the options on housing with the Illinois Financial Assistance Programs website, and they can refer to you additional housing options. And food. Groceries are an essential expense for when you're released, and there are services and programs that provide assistance for this, such as food banks. And Feeding Illinois, their website will have a listing of the food banks in the state. And additionally, SNAP, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, formerly known as food stamps, is a program that assists low-income individuals and families with funds to buy healthy foods. And you can learn more about that program on the SNAP website. And in each article, we have additional resources. These will appear on each page, and we'll get into those shortly. And so those are some of the things to keep in mind and acquire after your release. And so going to the next article here, important personal identification documents. And so we open up this article here, there's a few documents that are very important to have for a range of reasons. And so birth certificate, a social security card, and a driver's license. So a birth certificate, a certified copy of your certificate, is going to be important to have in order to obtain some of these other documents in here. And so if you don't have a copy of your birth certificate, you can learn how to acquire it by going to the Illinois Department of Public Health's website. So the next document we have here is a social security card, and every US citizen has a social security number, and having or SSN, and having this card is needed to get a job, to pay for services such as water and electricity once you move into an apartment or a house, and even open up a bank account. And if you don't have your card, you'll need to apply for a replacement through the Social Security Administration's website. And additionally, a driver's license. And for some jobs, you may need a driver's license in order to be eligible for consideration. And if your license is expired, you can go to the Secretary of State's website and figure out how to renew it. And if it has expired, you may need to go in person to the appropriate facility to take another test in order for it to be renewed and reissued to you. If it's been suspended or revoked, go ahead and contact the Secretary of State's office. They have more information about how you can reacquire that as well. So those are some of the important documents to have once you are returning. So the next article we have here is local resources to help you succeed. And so we have a tool, the Illinois Worknet Service Finder, and this can be used to search for organizations throughout the state that provide a range of services from financing, food, housing, legal assistance, transportation, and so much more. And just some of the organizations that you might want to consider reaching out to if needed is community mental health agencies, DHS, the Department of Human Services, can help you with if you need any mental health treatment or experiencing addiction. There are mental health agencies throughout the state that can assist you with that. Mentoring programs. So once you're released, if you don't maybe have as many friends or family, or you need additional support, there's mentoring programs are a great opportunity for you to get support from somebody else. And there's organizations that provide these programs that it can work directly with you to make sure that you're on the right path with your short and long-term goals, from getting a job to acquiring health insurance and more. And Mentor Illinois is a great resource to find programs near you. Healthcare. So healthcare and going to the doctor and paying for medicine, can add up really quickly. And so there's some options for you that you can utilize, such as Medicaid, which provides assistance for those with no or limited income with affordable health services. And you can apply for Medicaid in Illinois at this website here. Medicare provides health insurance coverage for older individuals and those with disabilities. And the Social Security Administration's website, if you go there, you can contact them and figure out if you are eligible for Medicare. And there's community health and dental clinics, and they offer services at a lower cost or free for individuals without health insurance coverage. And there's a directory that we link to here that you can see what options are near you. In addition to those, kind of going back to the service finder, health insurance, prescription medication assistance, and much more. can be used on this service finder search, which is here. And once you enter a search term, it'll pull up a directory of organizations based on what you were looking for. And so we did talk about housing, but the Illinois Financial Assistance Programs provides housing options for renting, homeless shelters, and transitional housing. Reiterating food. SNAP and Feeding Illinois have funds and a listing of organizations that can assist with that. And Illinois Worknet centers. These are one-stop shops that have workforce partners who will help you no matter where you are in the job seeking process. If you're not sure where to start, if you're getting ready to apply, if you're building and writing your resume, if you're preparing for an interview, these have professionals, these Illinois Worknet centers have professionals that you can work one-on-one with to make sure that you're reaching your training and employment goals. And again, you can use the service finder to search for your Illinois Worknet center. And so we'll come back to the service finder in a minute, but the Inside Out Network, and this is something that James had shared with me. This is a new initiative that helps connect those who've been released with their job search, from service providers to churches and ministries. This initiative helps returning citizens with their adjustment back to work. And so the Inside Out Network, or ION, is free to use for returning citizens and their families. And we have a link to their website that includes a video that demonstrates how you can use this site, make connections with the service providers, and get on the right track to finding the job for you. So that's another great initiative that's just started up. Education. So after completing high school or earning your GED, that'll be important for the job search. And so if you are in the process of acquiring those, you may also want to consider getting a college degree if you don't already have one. And so some of the resources that we have under here, no matter your level of education, we have the Adult Education Program Search on Illinois Worknet, and these are programs that'll help with basic skills for reading, writing, math, and speech. And actually, I'm sorry, that's ICCB, the Illinois Community College Board. But that will have a list of programs in different communities that can assist with those basic skills there. The General Education Development, or the GED test, is another one. So to earn your GED, you'll have to take a test, and GED.com provides resources that you'll need to prepare for that test. Vocational and apprenticeship programs. And so these are programs that are structured so that you learn skills about the job while you're earning a living. And so for more information about apprenticeship opportunities and programs, you can go ahead and visit this page on Illinois Worknet. Higher education programs. If you already have your GED or high school diploma, you can start looking at college level programs. Illinois Worknet centers can use WHEEL of funding and that funding can be used for up to 2 years of higher educations if you are eligible to receive that. And you can contact your Illinois Worknet center to see what your options are. Additionally, National ABLE is a program for senior workers that also teaches those who are financially eligible for services, including multi-week computer skills courses. And some networking resources that we have. So it's, networking and making connections is really important because it can make you stand out when you're reaching out to organizations, meeting other professionals. You might get a job tip, who is hiring, and more. And so making those connections is really important. And so some of the resources that we have on Illinois Worknet is the event calendar. And the event calendar will include upcoming events, workshops, that you can search through. You can search by city or zip code, by keywords. If you have a specific audience or field of interest, an industry, you can search through that and find the results. You can see that there's so many events that we had in April, and we'll continue to have in May, but just this one day alone, these are the different events that were taking place throughout the state. You can see veterans, virtual job fair events, learning about WIOA services, understanding credit in your credit report, women leading COVID-19 efforts in Illinois. There's a lot of different events taking place, and the Illinois Worknet calendar is a great opportunity for you to learn about these events and register and attend them as well. The service finder, we've covered that. The student and trade connections search. So there's different organizations that operate with specific fields or industries that connect and bring members of these fields together. And you can learn more about how to get involved in a specific career field. You can network, connect, and gain the knowledge that can help you gain experience and grow your career. So there's a lot of resources within this search as well. Volunteer guide, so similar in structure to how this Returning Citizens Guide is set up. We have one on volunteering, and you can learn more about getting started, why it's useful, and how it can help you with your job search. You can include your volunteer opportunities on your resume. It helps your community. It is a fantastic experience that that you can take advantage of, and there's a lot of volunteering opportunities around. And then we also have additional networking resources, different articles, videos, and other resources as well. So let's go back to the guide here. So the next article is Catch Up on Technology. And so if you're not quite as familiar with some of the technology, with the job search in today's world, everything is online. And so it's important to have some of the basics here, such as an email account. This is a free and easy way to communicate with family, friends, your workforce professional, your Illinois Worknet Center maybe, and applying to jobs and communicating with professionals as well. And so when creating an email address, you'll want to make sure that your name is professional. For example, john.smith@gmail.com looks much more professional than something like supermanrocks@yahoo. And you should keep in mind that when you do apply for jobs online, that you will be asked to provide an email. So again, you would want to make that be professional in its naming. And there's a ton of different email providers that you can sign up and create an account with. And we link to a few of them here: Gmail, Outlook, Yahoo as well. And be sure that you have a record, or you'll write down your email address and your password and put it in a safe place. That way, in case you forget it, you can go back to that note and find that. And again, in any emails that you do send, make sure that the language is appropriate and professional as well. GCF Global, they have a website that offers tutorials on computers that covers the basics of computers, computer skills, typing, navigating the internet, and so much more. In the Illinois Worknet, we also have a digital literacy guide that covers skills that are important for all jobs and industries, along with some programs that can assist you in finding and improving these skills. And included in this guide, we have articles such as why knowing your computer and mobile device matters, why online security matters, why online skills matter, and more resources here. But you should also consider your local library as a resource to have hands-on training, because they may offer lessons and free workshops that are open for the public. I know with COVID-19, it might be a bit limited due to social distancing, but that is another option that you should consider in regard to just kind of familiarizing yourself with some of the technological changes that have happened. So this next article we have here is called "The Top 5 Things to Know About Expunging or Sealing Records." And we won't get too deep into this. I'll provide kind of a brief overview because this could be a webinar session in itself. But so this guide here, we talk about, what is the difference between expunging and sealing your record? Why would you want to expunge or seal your record? How can you determine if you're eligible to expunge or seal your record? How do you actually go about doing so? And how long might it take to expunge or seal the record? And we do link to other organizations, articles that provide more information about this. There's a instructional booklet for how you can go about this process to expunge or seal a record. And we also link to different forms that are accepted in all the courts in Illinois, which you can find in the state appellate defender site. And so this just kind of goes through the different information you'll need as you put together your forms and applications to expunge or seal your record, and something to definitely check out if this is relevant to you. For under this additional resources and information, we have a lot of different bullet points here for some considerations. Let's go through a few of these. There are fees to filling out these forms. However, there is a waiver that you can fill out, and if approved, it may allow you to file the forms for free. If you go to your local Illinois Worknet, American Job Center, or IDES, Department of Employment Security Office, they can make copies of your petition for free. Otherwise, if you show up to a circuit clerk's office, for example, you'll more than likely have to pay to have those copies. And you should have copies of these because it's just good to have your own record, and also for when you submit the forms and the paperwork. If you do have any questions about expunging or sealing your record, then go ahead and contact the Office of the State Appellate Defender. They have more information about the process, the forms you'll need, and more. Additionally, Illinois Legal Aid Online has helpful information for sealing your record as well. And finally, what I do want to mention here is there are expungement lawyers, and there's a listing on this website here. And these lawyers are limited into what they can charge for sealing and expungement services. So if you might contact other attorneys, and that might add up very quickly. But move to the next article here for apply for jobs. So we'll open this up. So when you're looking for a job, there's a few things to keep in mind. You'll want to be as prepared as possible when you're beginning the process to apply for jobs. And so first and foremost, what you'll need is a resume. And so for every job that you apply to, you'll need a resume, and the resume will show your work experience and your skills and why that company should hire you for the position you're applying for. And so what you can do is we have a document, a skills inventory document that you can just ask questions, that you can, take an inventory of your skills, your experience, what you did on the job, and how that might apply to the job that you're looking for. It'll help you get started in thinking about what to include on the resume. And some of the sections that you'll want to have on the resume is, name, address, contact information, the skills you have, if you speak another language, if you have publications in magazines or newspapers, any computer technical skills, certifications, and more. Another section is your work experience. So you'll write down the jobs you had along with the duties that you performed with those jobs. And you can include any volunteer work as well if you have experience in that. And so for each entry you have on your resume, you'll include the employer's name, the location, and the start and end dates of your time there. And then another section for education. And so this would be, your high school degree, your GED, certificates you've received, and so forth. And awards, if you've received scholarships, Dean's List notices, Employee of the Month, other awards like that. That can be helpful to include on your resume as well. And while that sounds like a lot of information, you should be able to have a resume that's about 1 to 2 pages in length. And you'll want to review it and make sure that the spelling's correct, all the information is accurate, and make sure it's really really great here. And we do have the Illinois Worknet Resume Writing Guide. And so this guide just kind of walks you through the process of putting together a resume, from getting prepared to write your resume, taking that skills inventory sheet and reviewing that, to actually start writing the resume and filling it out, customizing your resume, kind of updating it to improve it along the way, preparing for an interview, how you can prepare for an interview is one of the tools we have on Illinois Worknet, and the resume builder tool itself, which is free to use. This article included here. If you sign up for an Illinois Worknet account, which is free, everything on this Illinois Worknet site is free, by the way. And if you create an account with Illinois Worknet, you have free access to this resume builder tool, which allows you to customize, find resume templates, share them, build them, create cover letters, practice interviewing, and so much more. It's a great tool that we have included in this guide as well. We also have additional resources, articles, videos on resume writing as well. So going back to this article in our guide, so after you have your resume, you can search for job opportunities. And so, you can talk to other people about what opportunities are available. You can use online searches as well. You can speak with friends and family to see if they're aware of anything. Very briefly, we do have on the Illinois Worknet homepage, if you click under this virtual job fair section here, virtual job fairs. So, they're due to the pandemic, there were a lot of hiring events that were held in person, but now there's a space to have them online. And so if you go to this page here, you can see which employers in Illinois are hiring, how many positions they have. And if you click on this booth, for instance, you can see how many jobs they have available. And if you click this link, that'll take you to their website. It'll show which positions they're hiring for. And these booth listings also have contact information for employer representatives that you can reach out to with questions. Additionally, if you click this VJF events button, that'll take you to a calendar view where you can see just the upcoming virtual job fair events that are going to be held online. And so what you can do is you can come here, open up an entry, and click this website that's provided, and you can register for that job fair, and then attend and ask questions of the employer and learn more about their organization. So that's another way to search for job opportunities. Additionally, Believe Publications, they have a website that has a list of companies that hire individuals with a record, and so you can check out that website and follow up with them as well. So applying for jobs. So that was the job search. So then actually applying for the jobs, we do have articles on Illinois Worknet similar to this one that, things to keep in mind and that you need to know when applying for jobs. Additionally, we just went over the job fair tool, but there's other online job searches such as Indeed, Monster, and ZipRecruiter as well. And the networking resources, which you can use to find jobs, the event calendar. You can reach out to your American Job Center with the Service Finder to see if they know of any opportunities as well. So our next article here is interview for jobs. And so once you do apply to positions and you do have, and you get called back for an interview, this article has some tips and information. You'll want to dress the part, make sure that you're wearing professional clothing to your interview. Don't have too many distracting accessories. Make sure that facial hair is trimmed or shaven, that your clothes are clean and ironed. You don't want to wear very wrinkly clothes or stained clothes if possible. We do have another article that goes into the how to dress for an interview. And so during your interview, you'll want to make sure that you maintain eye contact when you speak, that you're speaking at a clear and appropriate volume. You don't want to yell, you don't want to whisper. Have good posture, sit straight up, don't slouch or lean. And what you should do to prepare for the interview as well is to know about the company. So that'll make you stand out in interviews, that you've actually kind of studied the company, what they do, what they've done for the community, what's their company culture like, what products and services do they provide, and check out their website. That is a question that can come up in interviews. And if it does, you'll want to be prepared and say that, yes, you did. And, something that you'll want to mention something that you liked or were impressed with on their website. It's a good way to show that you're actually interested in that position and that company, and that, you're invested with that employer. And so what we have on Illinois Worknet as well is, we have linked to common interview questions that'll come up. You'll want to be honest, but you can practice interviews with through that resume building tool. And we won't go too much into this article, but this article provides some steps on how you can get started with that interview tool. So you can go through and review this and access the interview tool and practice to make sure that you're prepared for your interview. And additionally, with this article talks a little bit about know what you're required, know that you are not required to reveal. Depending on the question, the way it's phrased, you don't maybe necessarily need to share that information with the employer. For example, if previous records have been erased, then they're not required to be mentioned. If there's any question that you're not sure about on an application, don't leave it blank. There's not a wrong answer. In fact, leaving a question blank on an application kind of stands out in not the good way for an employer. And if an employer does ask about your record, don't limit yourself to just yes, but instead say that you're working towards your education, your training, community groups you've been involved with, and you're working towards that. And additionally, we do have several other articles about interviewing that are worth reading. So preparing interview clothes, do's and don'ts, how to ace your interview, how to deal with inappropriate interview questions, different types of interviews, what to do during an interview, and what to do after. Some more articles there as well. So our next article here offers some tips for do's and don'ts for your first day on the job. And so, on your first day, maybe have some questions that you can ask through the day and get answers. It'll show that you're interested in the position in the company and that you want to do well. You'll also want to have an elevator pitch. And so an elevator pitch is a 30-second speech about you that highlights your work history. And in this, there's no need to mention your record or if you were recently released. It's more about you, your work history, your experience, what you would like to do. And we have a video here that will provide more information about how to put together a good elevator speech. And so for your first day, you'll want to get to work early, but don't enter until about 15 minutes before your start time. And being on time is really important for a lot of employers. And so if you're there a little bit early on your first day and the days after, they'll be really impressed with that. And with your coworkers, be social, be friendly, say hello and introduce yourself to the new coworkers. Relax, breathe, smile. That you shouldn't be too worried because they hired you for that position and you're there because you're qualified to be. And so you also want to just kind of learn about the social environment at the workplace, have some energy to show that you're excited to work there, and learn the rules and processes of the company. It's okay to ask questions, and asking questions will help you be successful at your new position. You can also learn about the policies when it comes to sick days, requesting time off, phones, and so forth. And if you have your phone on you, make sure it's silent and out of sight. You don't want to be texting or calling people on your first day or any of the days after at your work if it's a personal call. But yeah, be ready to learn and prepare by getting a good night's sleep and eating a good breakfast in the morning. So some additional resources here that we can talk to, or we can talk a little bit about quickly is, we did link to this, the local resources to help returning citizens succeed, and using that Illinois Worknet Service Finder to find organizations that can help you with the health insurance, housing, financial assistance, training for a job, preparing for an interview, putting together your resume, SNAP benefits, transportation, and so much more. Illinois Joblink is another website that you can refer to in looking for job opportunities that are available in Illinois. You will need to create an account with them to get started on there. But that's just another resource for you to use to be able to search through jobs. And then finally, in the Returning Citizens Guide, we have another guide on money management tips. And so, this guide provides different searches for, if you're getting started, you're younger, from managing and saving money, keeping a balance of your required expenses and your recreational time. We have a search here that will allow you to find more resources and information about how to manage financially. And additionally, we have other searches that look like the page we were just on for financing, education and training. If you're interested in opening a small business, we have more information about that and resources, and just in general, managing finances, from making a personal budget, making prudent financial decisions, and learning about ways to save and plan for the future as well. And so that's a overview of the Returning Citizens Guide. And so at this time, I'm going to go ahead and open it up to any questions we might have. I do see that there was one that was asked. Will you be sending us a copy of this presentation? And this webinar is being recorded and will be made available on Illinois Worknet's YouTube channel. And thank you, Kimberly, for providing that link. Additionally, the way you can get to this is if you're on Illinois Worknet, any Illinois Worknet page, you can scroll down to the footer, and under this communication section here, you can click YouTube, and that'll take you to the Illinois Worknet YouTube channel where you can find a recording of this morning's webinar. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to share them in the chat. I don't see any questions at this time, but again, this returning citizens guide, let me share this link in the chat here. But again, there's a lot of information in this returning citizens guide. The way to reach to it, to reach the guide, you can access it through the main menu here under updates and help and click returning citizens guide. Additionally, on the IllinoisWorknet.com homepage, if you scroll down to the guides and tools and press view more, that'll show all the guides that we have on Illinois Worknet. And in this third row here, returning citizens guide, if you press that, that will open a new tab and bring you to the guide. And so with that, I think we can go ahead and close out, seeing no other questions in the chat here. I want to thank you all for attending this morning's session covering this guide, and a very special thanks to James Pagano for joining us this morning and sharing information about the Department of Commerce's work on assisting returning citizens. And so with that, we will go ahead and close out, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Thanks all.